How's it going? Welcome back. It's Jonathan, and again, we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin chart. But before I do, this time what I want you to do is if you get anything out of this video, go ahead and share it with your friends, hit the like button, and if you're not yet a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now, as you know, subscribing is free, so you can unsubscribe at any time, so there's no obligation for you to stick around or put up any money or anything like that. So it's completely free. You can stick around, watch the videos, learn something, and keep track of the Bitcoin market and other markets and other world news as it comes. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the charts. There's a few things to cover, and we'll see where Bitcoin may be going next. First up, on your chart, as you can see, we have the daily chart of Bitcoin, and in this instance we are now tracking the crossover between the lower moving average and the higher moving average. So the lower one was the shorter time frame and the higher one was the longer time frame moving average. And as you can see right now, Bitcoin has staged a crossover point, and a lot of people are now calling this the golden cross, and we are going up. Now, if you know anything about what I do, I don't follow these crossover movements. You see, moving averages are a complete waste of time. They are not a leading indicator, and as a result, it is only telling you what price has already done, okay? So a lot of people were screaming hell as soon as this crossover here, which is called the death cross, a lot of people were screaming hell, and they were suggesting that Bitcoin is on its way down. Now, as we know, during this whole time period, if you go back through a lot of the videos I did, we put this line up, and that was pretty much a line in the sand, and that was pretty much a point in price where I didn't think that Bitcoin was going to go below. So these indicators, a lot of people use them. I don't want to say amateur traders use them, but it's generally those who don't really know a lot about the markets that claim these holy grail technical indicators as the be all and end all, okay? So right now we've got this golden crossover. I don't think that the downside move is over just yet. Now, I'm not saying that the market's going to go below this low here, not at all. There's definitely a line in the sand here that we might get a little touch below it in the future, maybe towards the end of the month or even out into October, but it's definitely not going to go way below it. That's my opinion anyway. So this golden cross, a lot of people are now calling for another bull run. If you've been with me for any period of time, you already know my hypothesis for this market. You know, it was a low July to August and then end of year rally. That's pretty much all it boiled down to, with potential stalls in the market around September and then again in October. It's as simple as that. You don't need to complicate things with all these amateur indicators, okay? Now, for the weekly chart, we did this bar here is our reversal in the market, so there's no real news. We currently have an inside bar on the weekly chart. Monthly chart, we're still posting green for the month. Now, the reason why it's green, if we zoom in, is because, I'll get my red one here, is because our open and close are currently in a bullish position, okay? So our closing price at the time period on the monthly chart is higher than the open. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to another couple of charts. The swing chart, this is the Gann swing chart. We've posted another swing higher. It's not yet confirmed a bullish swing, meaning that there's no buy signal on this one. It did pitch a bear signal right here where the market crossed below it, and it had pitched a bear signal. Though on this daily swing chart, unless you're day trading, which I don't do, this is just an idea on which way the market is likely to go and not major confirmation, okay? With respect to our weekly Gann swing, at least, we are still pitching a low or a swing lower, and that's just pretty much because there's no higher price action, which has made the chart turn higher. Regarding our Kagi, okay, so in this instance, as you can see right here, let me get the red again. This is the other day when I pointed out that the Kagi chart had turned bearish. We did move lower. The market has moved higher. Now, based on the current formation of the Kagi chart, it won't go green until it crosses up here, but it could pitch a higher high here, and then as soon as that happens, what's going to happen is the Kagi chart is going to start turning green, which is signaling bullish behavior. With respect to the weekly 3% Kagi chart, as we can still green the whole way. So longer term time frame still bullish, shorter term time frame a little bit iffy at the moment. With respect to price, we're now moving into our middle box here, which would and could potentially reverse the market, at least temporarily. We will just see. It might push straight through it, but we're just going to keep this in mind here, okay? With respect to patterns, we've had a few bullish and bearish candlestick reversals here. I haven't drawn on any other obvious patterns at the moment that a lot of other people are pointing out, such as these sort of patterns that come down like this and that sort of stuff. I haven't drawn any of them on just because at the moment I don't think that there's any real need to, okay? We're not trading the patterns at the moment. Elliott wave, we've come down into our 15th time period, which we were watching for a potential low in the market with respect to Elliott wave. Now, I don't see a lot of people using the time element. Now, time as a way to assess the market is very tedious. It's a very long process to learn, and it also takes even longer to build confidence in this method. So what I do is I show you with years of seeing it play out how it could potentially look, and then all you need to do is sit back and watch that, okay? So the market sort of come down into this time period that we were watching here. And as I suggested, we may get a low at this period before a potential rally higher. Though I think that based on the major seasonal date, which is coming up around the 22nd to 23rd of this month, we could push a little bit lower before moving higher. And I'm not saying a little bit lower as in like we're going down lower than what we were, but at least the market may stage maybe potentially a higher low in this instance. We'll get onto that soon. With respect to our left and right translation, so pretty much we had our right translation low, and it looks like it's come in here. We could, if I start drawing another poly here for you, we could be moving up into now a right translation high, and with another potential low over here. Now, I'm not going to say that it's going to be a low that goes into any of these price points. I'm just drawing angles. But if it's a right translation high, it's definitely going to be a higher low, okay? That's just the way this rule works. But wherever this high comes in, even if it swings higher up here, like we get the market sort of just hypothesizing for you, just so you can see how this plays out. The market sort of rallies higher. Definitely in this time period, we would be looking for that higher low in that instance, okay? So I'll just leave these here as guys. They're by no means telling us what's going to happen just yet. We need to wait and see for these cycles to play out. And then as long as the market pitches a higher low than here, it definitely confirms the bull case. But in essence, it just has to be a higher low than this one here. So we're definitely way off that. So we know it's going to be a higher low. All right, let's move on. Let me clear the screen. So with respect to the mass pressure chart, I don't know what to say in this instance, okay? So it's kind of like, you know, just watch it play out. We were looking for a double bottom. I mean, if we look at this, there's a double bottom in the forecast. We get our double bottom here. We could be moving up into a high before another swing lower into our anticipated low, which is around the 22nd to 23rd. I go out between the 21st to the 23rd of September. And then that should be the final low, if the forecast is of any guide, before we start to pitch higher lows, before we get our next seasonal low in October, which coincides with our next low on our cycles location. Okay, so this low in here. So I hope you're starting to see how all of this comes together, and we start to build our picture for Bitcoin. We don't just look at one indicator. We use everything, and then we build our case. Now, a lot of these guys who just look at news articles all day on their big screens, and they go, oh, the whales crashed the market. You know, we've been through this oftentimes. That's not how I see the market, and you're more than welcome to see it that way if that's what you do. That's by all means your choice. I just don't see it that way. So the September low, we were definitely expecting one. Now, this here generally tells us that the September period generally pitches a negative return for the year. okay? So out of all the years between 2011 and 2021, September has generally been negative, which means that the open is higher than the close. So the close is lower. Now, there is every bit of chance that this time is going to be different, only because, so if we go to our September period, only because our September period opened up around the 47 to 48,000 mark. Okay, so if the market closes above 47 to 48,000, which it's touching now, then it's considered a higher close for the month. So we'll see what happens. We do have this rollover feature in the cycle still out to October. We'll see if it plays out or not. But typically speaking, we're looking at a negative month in September. With respect to the time cycles, so we were looking for a low to occur around the 10th. The market did lower around the 10th. It did move up. We had this whole manipulation sort of discussion occur on a lot of pages where the market was manipulated and the manipulators were going to crash the price of Bitcoin. Nonetheless, I was watching for a low on the 10th, and then we moved into the 15th. Now, I share with you guys right here a lot of different information to what I share in other platforms. That's because I want you to see exactly what I'm seeing, okay? So stick around because this is where it's at. Now, a lot of people want to go through the stats, don't actually watch this full video. So it kind of moves into the too long didn't read bit where I do my write-ups. A lot of people just focus on the first bit, they go, bored, I'm out of here. I try to show you it in a non-exciting way because there's a lot of golden nuggets that I want you to pick up along the way, and I think that's very important. Now, if the market is going to move down, which I do think it's going to do, there is another potential turn point in the market around the 17th to the 19th. We'll see what plays out there because that's coming in the next 2 to 3 days. But my hypothesis was always a potential low around this period here, around the 22nd to 23rd, but we'll stretch it from the 21st to 23rd, okay? So there's a lot of these time cycles that are coming up. Now, obviously, you can't see what happened in the past and you can't see what happened into the future. You can go into other videos if you want all what happened in the past, but I blur it out just because I use this to myself and I'll release it to you as we get closer to them, okay? So I can build my case. And we'll finish up with the Astro because that becomes the end of this sequence here. I won't go into anything else. I don't have any Astro topics on here except for the square of 9, which isn't really Astro by nature. But definitely this 220-degree angle is proving to be of importance. We did get our turn on the 10th exactly on the 220-degree angle. We're currently sitting at what appears to be a 45-degree angle. I'll go ahead and chuck it on and we'll just double check. 45-degree angle is just the midpoint between the 220. So we've come up into the turn date, which was the 15th, into a 45-degree angle. It's considered a weaker angle than the 220, but it is an exact opposite on the scale. So it is the midpoint between them two. So this could force us into a low into the 22nd, 23rd. The bearish case, we could come all the way down to the 44,000 mark. We could even push down to the 42,000 mark if it pushes lower. Though we'll just have to see. I don't have any exact outlook at that right now. So there is an update on the Bitcoin chart. If you learned anything, if you got any new information, any new update, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also leave me a comment if you learned anything. I'm always here for you guys, and I really want you to learn and sort of build the pictures as you go and sort of separate yourself from the noise, because the noise is going to actually trap you in really the way you look at the markets and the way you analyze the markets and position your buy and sell signals, okay? So I really hope that served you well, and I really hope you got something out of this, and I will be talking to you soon.